What is up and welcome back, guys. If this is your first time watching, we are your Colorado real estate family. This video is going to be a little tricky because, with fair housing, as the licensed agent in the state of Colorado, I need to make sure that I do not steer you in any way whatsoever. So quick note on this, we are going to be covering the top 10 most dangerous neighborhoods in Denver, Colorado. None of this by any means is my opinion. I am basing all this off of areavibes.com. All the stats, everything is all according to areavibes.com. By no means is my opinion. I'm going to repeat that one more time just so that we don't confuse any of you guys. But we're going to be covering the top 10 most dangerous neighborhoods in Denver. The number 10 neighborhood on our list is going to be Park Hill. Now I'm zoomed out pretty far here. You can see this is the Denver area right here. Actually, this is Denver Metro. But we're talking about this Denver, the city of Denver right here. You can see Park Hill is outlined in these red dots right here. That is going to be Park Hill. So essentially it's on like the northeastern side of Denver right here. And let's zoom in a little bit further so you can kind of see where we're at. So you got Park Hill right here. The good thing about Park Hill is it's access to this Anschutz campus over here. So you see UC University of Colorado Hospital over here. You got the VA over there. You got the Children's Hospital. So you see a lot of medical professionals who do choose to live in this Park Hill area. It just unfortunately doesn't have the best when we are talking about these crime statistics. Now, these crime statistics break down into essentially three categories. It's going to be your violent crime, it's going to be your total crimes, and it's going to be your property crime. Where does Park Hill stand on that? So if we are talking about, in comparison to your national average, so say your 100 is your national average, Park Hill in regards to total crime is going to be 151% as compared to your national average. If we look at violent crime, it is 147% of your national average. And if we look at property crime, it's going to be 152% of your national average. Let's break those numbers down even further. And let me cover Denver real quick. So if we talk about Denver per 100,000 people, you're looking at 7,498 per 100,000. If we look at your violent crime, it's 1,070 per 100,000. And if we look at your property crime, it's 6,428 per 100,000 people. When we are talking about Park Hill, it is going to be a little bit lower on your total crime, 5,837 per 100,000. If we look at your violent crime, it is also going to be a little bit lower than Denver at a 914 per 100,000. And if we look at your property crime, it is also a little bit lower at 4,923. So it's good to see that Denver as a whole, it's a little bit lower than that. And according to areavibes.com, it is going to be rated an F. All right, the next neighborhood that we are going to be covering is going to be Baker, and this is number 9 on our list of the top 10 most dangerous neighborhoods in Denver. Baker, you can see I'm zoomed out right here. It's like on the southwest side of Denver right here, and then it also rides the highway. So if we come in a little bit closer here, a lot of this was a lot of like industrial and commercial all along I-25 right here. That's something that you typically always saw when we are going along I-25. But yeah, you have this neighborhood right here, and it's going to be number 9 on the list when we are talking about Baker. You could also see one neighborhood that we always talk about is this Wash Park area right here. Highly desirable area that so many people are relocating into. And then also we've got this Capitol Hill area, another desirable area when we are talking about those who are relocating into Denver. Now let's go ahead and cover those numbers when we are talking about this Baker area. Now, when we're talking about total crime, you're looking at 177% of your national average. Violent crime, it's 148% compared to national average. And your property crime is 182% of your national average. What do those numbers look like when we are talking about these three different subcategories of crime? So total crime, you're looking at an estimate of 6,439 per 100,000. If you look at your violent crime, it's 919 per 100,000. And then if we look at your property crime, 5,520 per 100,000. Again, all of these are lower as compared to Denver as a whole. So that's always good to kind of see, okay, it's a little bit lower than as compared to Denver as a whole when we are talking about crime according to areavibes.com. Number 8 on our list is going to be the Highland neighborhood. Quick note on this is that Highland, so you see I'm zoomed out, you're looking at like the northwest side of Denver. If we zoom in a little bit though, so the Highlands, a neighborhood that we consistently talk about how it's a highly desirable area, and then also Low-High, which is kind of your area more along the highway down in here. You see a lot of great restaurants and stuff that are up in there. That is the whole Highland area that this is covering right now. Highland, we have seen over the last decade, so many scrapes, so many pop tops, renovations. There's been a lot of construction, new construction happening in both of these areas right here. But the crime, like I said, is number 8 on the list. Let's break into these numbers a little bit. If you're talking about Highland, total crime, it's 351%. That is insane. That is way higher than the other two neighborhoods that we already did discuss. Look at violent crime, it's 157%. And then property crime is 388%. Let's break into those numbers a little bit. So if we're talking about your total crime, it's at 10,484, so much higher than Denver as a whole. When we are talking about your violent crime is slightly lower though at 950 out of 100,000. And then property crime is at 9,534 out of 100,000. That one is going to be higher than Denver as a whole. Quick note on this, we actually helped a client who did relocate into this area, and right when they moved into their house, they realized that someone was like randomly knocking on the door in the middle of the night. Found out that it was a homeless man, and it's unfortunate the problems that he was having, but that's just something that you might experience if you are moving into this area. Again, though, it is a highly desirable area, one of those areas that has been up and coming over the last decade, but it is unfortunately an F grade according to AreaVibes.com, number 8 on our list. All right, the number 7 position for neighborhoods on our list is going to be northwest or northwestern Denver, pretty much. You can see on the map right here, it's pretty much what it says. It's the northwest side of Denver. But let's zoom in a little bit. And so it's pretty much like on the north side of the Highland neighborhood right here. Just on the, it rides a little bit of the I-70 area, all this area right down in and around here. And so it's like you got the lakeside area over here. This area is very similar to the Highlands, where they did have a lot of scrapes, putting up a lot of these, awesome looking, three level units. You have 2 duplexes, with kind of your 3 levels. Some of them have a rooftop. It's a pretty cool area, but it's unfortunate to see that it is number 7 on our list when we are talking about most dangerous neighborhoods, according to AreaVibes.com. It's great though with that access to I-70. So say that you are a skier. You can just hop on right here, I-70, take this all the way up into the mountains. So it's great for that. It also has great access to I-25. Well, this thing keeps popping up to me. I-25 going south, like I said, Colorado Springs, Castle Rock, TTC, all those different areas. So it does have a great commute if you want to go all these different areas within Colorado. Let's go ahead and break into those numbers a little bit. So when we are talking about northwestern Denver, total crime is 269% of your national average. Violent crime is 163% of your national average, and then property crime is 289% of your national average. If we break those into numbers, you got 8,582 in your total crime per 100,000 people. If we look at violent crime, it's 971 per 100,000 people. And then you have property crime, which is 7,611 out of 100,000 people. So if we read off those numbers, it looks like 2 of them will be higher than your Denver average of your total crime in the Denver area. So I mean, it's like, all right, so violent crime's down below. That's the only one that is low. Outside of that, your total crime and your property crime is going to be higher than the average in Denver as a whole. Number 6 on our list is going to be, okay, so Area Vibes calls it Stapleton. Stapleton is always what this area was growing up here in Denver, Colorado, but it has now kind of been transformed into Central Park. And so this is the same area. It used to be Stapleton, now it's Central Park because, you had the Stapleton Airport down there before you had DIA. It's going to be pretty much, on the northeast side of Denver. And so you look right here, I mean, this is actually, so many people love moving over here because if you look like on the north side of I-70 right here, this whole area is all so brand new. You have the newer mall shopping all over here, Bass Pro Shops, a nice outdoor walking mall, all right in here. And then the south side right here is kind of all getting renovated a little bit. You do have some newer stuff closer to the highway. You have a great park over there. So it's a cool little area. Again, another spot that so many people are moving to because of this Anschutz campus that we got right here. And so you have a lot of medical professionals who do choose to live in this area. And we have actually helped so many medical professionals who wanted that easy commute over to the Anschutz campus. And so they did choose this area right here. Now let's go ahead and break into those numbers a little bit when we are talking about Stapleton / Central Park. So if we're looking at your percentages, it has an F grade. You've got 390% of your national average for total crime. You're looking at 180% of your national average for violent crime and 439% of your national average for property crime. Now, what do those numbers look like when we break them down? If we look at the numbers for total crime, it's 11,576 per 100,000 people, much higher than your Denver average. If we look at your violent crime, it's 1,036, so that one still stays a little bit below your Denver average in regards to violent crime. If we look at property crime, it's at 10,540 out of 100,000 people. So that one is almost double that of the Denver average when we are talking about property crime. All right, guys, we're halfway there. We're almost there. Going to make it to the #1 most dangerous neighborhood in Denver, according to areavibes.com. But if you are looking at purchasing real estate in the state of Colorado, licensed real estate agent here, I love bringing this information. We love being your experts when you are relocating here. So if you do want that top-notch relocation team, give us a call or text at that phone number right below. Right below it there, we always answer. It doesn't matter date or time. And if you're not quite ready to purchase yet, make sure you do follow along. Keep updated with the latest information that we do put out by hitting that subscribe button, giving us a thumbs up, notification bell. That way you're notified every single time that we put out a brand new video. All right, let's get on to number 5. Number 5 is going to be Jefferson Park. Where is Jefferson Park at? If we look on this little map right here, it's essentially south of that Highland area, right across I-25 from your main downtown area right here. Real close, it's just east of the Sloan's Lake area as well. Let's kind of zoom in a little bit. So you've got, all this area right here. The aquarium is kind of incorporated into this as well. You got Elitch's. Pretty soon Elitch's, right now it is an amusement park, but that is getting torn down to put a whole new kind of multi-fam shopping development that is going to be happening in there. But this is going to be your area right there. Let's dive into these numbers. If we are looking at Jefferson Park, compared to your national average, it's at 391% when we are talking about total crime. When we're talking about violent crime, it's actually 183%. And then property crime is 430%. Let's break into the numbers a little bit more. So total crime, you're looking at 11,406 per 100,000 people. Denver, it's just a little bit higher than your, Denver average. Violent crime is 1,047, so still slightly lower than your Denver average. And then if we're looking at property crime, it's at 10,359 per 100,000 people. That one again is almost double that of the average in Denver. Now it's time to dive into the number 4 on our list, and there's something that we are seeing here when we are talking about the list is now we are really starting to break into where it's going to have more crime than the average in Denver. And this number 4 neighborhood is going to be Capitol Hill. So where's Capitol Hill at? Let's see. Oh, I've got the, so let's just, Capitol Hill right here. You can see Capitol Hill, it's just literally like you got downtown Denver and it's just right kind of south east of there. This is going to be your Capitol Hill area. There's a lot of great historic houses over here. I love going through Capitol Hill, driving through there because the houses in there are just gorgeous. These huge kind of 1800s style houses were all built in there. With that, you also do see some renovations, some scrapes that are kind of happening in the Capitol Hill area. Let's go ahead and break into those numbers a little bit though. And so if we break into Capitol Hill, compared to the national average, you're looking at 242% on your total crime. Violent crime is 206%, and then property crime is 248%. If we break that down into the numbers, because this is going to be the first one where every single category is going to be higher than your Denver average, according to areavibes.com, you've got 7,939 for your total crime per 100,000 people. This one's actually going to be a little bit lower than in the last few of the neighborhoods that we mentioned. But then if you look at your violent crime, that is up to 1,133 per 100,000 people. And then if we look at your property crime, it's 6,806 per 100,000 people. Now it's interesting to see that we talked about how the other ones, the property crime is definitely higher and the total crime was a lot higher. These ones, it's a little bit lower than the other few neighborhoods that we discussed. So the only reason that this is throwing up to where overall the crime is higher than the average in Denver is because now we are finally getting into where violent crime is higher than your national average in Denver. All right, number 3 on our list, we're going to be crossing over I-25. So we covered this whole area right over here. It's going to be the Auraria area, which is like this is where you have the Auraria campus where you got Metro State over there. You got a college and all that stuff. This is what it's really known for. So you have a lot of student parking and such that is over there. Super close to downtown. I mean, technically it is downtown Denver, but when we're talking about your skyscrapers, this is literally right there on the southwest side of those skyscrapers in downtown Denver. You can see it's just south. You got Union Station right here. I've always kind of hated getting off here because you got Colfax on the south side of it as well too. So anytime I'm driving down here, it seems like this is always hectic kind of getting on here. And then also if you ever want to go north on I-25 right here, seems like it's always a hassle as well. You know, trying to get down there, you got the traffic that's consistently from a lot of people who are leaving downtown from work will take Colfax right here, and either they'll go straight out west to Lakewood, Golden, Littleton area, or they're going to take I-25 south or I-25 south, I-25 south or I-25 north. And so this just really backs up quite a bit right here, being right on Colfax. Let's go ahead and break into those numbers for the area. So if we're looking at, compared to the national average, 259% of your national average for total crime, 222% of your national average when we're talking about violent crime, and then 266% of your national average when we're talking about property crime. There's a few of these that aren't as high as, say, like, you know, a few of the other neighbors that we talked about. Those numbers, when we dive in a little bit deeper, so 8,342 per 100,000 people. When we are talking about your total crime, it is 1,190 when we are talking about your violent crime, and then it is 7,152 when we are talking about that property crime. Again, area vibes, I'm guessing that they put these numbers in here because overall, if we put all the numbers all together, that's what they're saying. Okay, that's why this one is number 3 on the list, where even though we talked about a few of these other areas where the property crime and the total crime was a little bit higher. All right, number 2, we're almost there onto our number 1. The number 2 is going to be northern Denver. Now, if we scroll in this, or if we zoom in a little bit on this, this is really going to cover your Rhino area. So when we talk about Rhino, it's River North, our district. That's what Rhino stands for. You got a little bit of Globeville happening up in here. I actually know some investors who bought a lot of property up in Globeville because they are expecting that to be a little bit more up and coming. But yeah, this whole northern area right here, it's just west of your City Park area right here. This area right here is going to be number 2 on our list. Let's break into those numbers right now. So if we break into it compared to the national average, you're looking at 282% on your total crime, 359% when we're talking about your violent crime, and 267% when we are talking about your property crime. Now, if we break into the numbers a little bit further, you got 8,874 per 100,000 on total crime, 1,697 out of 100,000 according to violent crime. It's a lot of damn talking right now. And then you've got 7,177 when we are talking about property crime. Again, it's a little bit, you know, lower when we're talking about total crime and property crime compared to the few of those other cities that were a little bit higher on the list. Claims area vibes claims a little less dangerous than this one right here. We have this northern Denver area. It's pretty cool though, because like I said, this Rhino area right here, I mean, tons of breweries up in there. You got a lot of great like kind of boutiques that are up in there. It was heavily industrial, where now they're converting it more into your residential, not necessarily residential, like industrial residential, right? And so you see a lot of condos, townhouses, apartments that are really up in there. And then if you go more on, I guess, this eastern side of North Denver, that's where you're gonna get more of your houses where you do see some scrapes, you do see some pop tops, some renovations that are happening over in this area right in here. All right, so now you've made it to the number 1. The most dangerous neighborhood in Denver, according to areavibes.com, is going to be Central West Denver. Now, for some reason, I couldn't get it to pop up on this map. Essentially, it's going to be kind of this area over in here. You know, you see Sun Valley, Villa Park. This is going to be straight south of Empower Stadium where the Broncos play. So the Broncos play right in here. And you got the new Meow Wolf happening over here. You can probably hear my kids. It's summertime, guys. I mean, kids are out of school. You know, they're doing their thing, playing out there. So you might hear my kids a little bit in the background. But yeah, this area right here, this is going to be number 1 on our list in regards to the most dangerous neighborhood in Denver, according to areavibes.com. Now let's go ahead and break into those numbers. Let's see. So if we are talking about your national average, 369% of your national average. If we're looking at violent crime, it's 451% of your national average, and property crime is 353% compared to your national average. Let's go and dive into those numbers even deeper though. So like total crime, you're looking at 10,898 per 100,000 people. Violent crime is 2,037 per 100,000 people. And then property crime is 8,861 out of 100,000 people. So there you go, guys. We brought you the top 10 most dangerous neighborhoods in Denver, according to areavibes.com. I'd highly recommend that you do click on the resource down below, because Area Vibes, we've been using this quite a bit. They have a lot of interesting stuff. So like, just kind of break it down, they have grades on livability, amenities, commute, cost of living, crime, employment, housing, health and safe, schools, user ratings. This is an awesome resource, guys, so I highly recommend you dive in a little bit, figure a little bit more about these areas, if Denver or even any of these areas in the Denver metro is something that is on your list of places to potentially move. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I greatly appreciate it. If you are looking at calling Colorado your next home, make sure you give us a call or text at that phone number right below. Right below it there, we always answer. It doesn't matter date or time. And if you're not quite ready to purchase, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, notification bell, that way you're notified of all the latest stuff that we bring you in regards to Colorado. Until next time, we love you. Bye.